So we all know that the economy and the real estate market is disgustingly overpriced, yet certain well-known people continue to gaslight us with nonsensical comments that I'm about to show you coming up, and I'm also going to show you the simple thing you can do to avoid all of this craziness. What's going on, my YouTube friends? This is Jerry Abbott, your #1 real estate resource here in beautiful Las Vegas. Hey guys, a couple of real quick things before we dive into the video. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn the cold hard facts about the US economy, the US real estate market, and specifically the Las Vegas real estate market, then definitely subscribe to the channel down below. Number 2, if you happen to like the content in today's video, make sure to press that thumbs up like button, guys. That would really help the channel out. And number 3, if you are thinking about relocating to beautiful Las Vegas, whether it's next month or next year, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When that time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. Let's dive into the video. All right, so I want to start off by showing you guys these absurd comments at the most recent press conference where the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is talking about inflation and how things are going well at this point. Take a look at this 30-second video clip.
What we're doing is we're using our tools to bring down inflation. It will take some time, but we will succeed and we will bring inflation back down to 2%, and then people won't have to worry about it again. That's what we're doing, and we know that it's painful and inconvenient, but the dividends will be paid will be very large, and everyone will share in those dividends. We've made a lot of progress. Let's remember how far we've come. And we have a ways to go. We've got work left to do, but we're not looking at the very high inflation rates that we were seeing 2 years ago.
So I really want to know what planet this guy is living on. He actually said 2 really ridiculous things that stood out in that press conference. The first thing he said was that the dividends will be large and that everyone will share in them. What dividends? What the hell does that even mean? The second thing he said is that we've made progress and we're not staring at the same high inflation rates that we saw 2 years ago. So you know what he conveniently left out? That inflation is compounded. Over the last 4 years, we have seen 100+% inflation across all different sectors of the economy. And once prices go up, unless we go into a deflationary time period, which we're not, those prices at that compounded inflation rate stay up. And just to show you some examples of how expensive things are, take a look at a few of these comments from my viewers. So this first comment is from Rocky. I took my 2 Goldens to the vet for annual vaccinations checkup. Same stuff as last year. Same 2 ear meds as last year. Cost $706. Last year cost $325. This next comment is from Christian. House I wanted to buy sold 5 months ago, $430K. Today, $690K simply because some of the renovation they did. This next comment says, I have a lot of empathy for those struggling to cover the basic necessities in this economy. My natural gas bill is up 40% year over year, electricity 30%. A case of Vienna sausages at Costco has gone up at least 50% in the last 1 to 2 years. This next comment says, homes in my area are still at skyrocketing prices. All new homes, 1 to 2 million, starting in Minnesota. And this last comment says, I feel validated by what you said in the video. I see something similar in my area, Greater Boston. A house that was only $2 million a year ago is now sold for $5 million. It's crazy. Now, in this upcoming short video clip, I want you to see what longtime financial advisor Dave Ramsey says about buying a home. Let's take a look at that right now.
If you're thinking about buying a house and the only thing you're waiting on is you're waiting on the real estate prices to come down or the interest rates to come down, don't wait. Go buy a house right now if you're ready, because the prices aren't going to come down. And if the interest rates come down, you can just refinance.
My goodness, spoken just like an old rich guy who's worth hundreds of millions of dollars and completely out of touch with reality. How about this, Dave? How about the average person with the average income trying to buy the average home at the average mortgage rate now costs nearly $3,000 a month? The average person just simply can't afford it, Dave. And what's even more shocking about his comments about buying a home is that his constant financial advice to the millions of people that listen to him every single month is to spend less money, save money, and get out of debt, which is the exact opposite of what happens when you buy a home. Very self-serving advice from a person who owns a very large real estate portfolio. Now, just to drill down into some more details as to how unaffordable the housing market is, I want to show you the following U.S. map graphic showing you the average mortgage payment in each state. Let's take a look at that right now. All right, so let's first take a look at this U.S. map graphic. Now, there's a lot of different colors here, and there's a lot of different numbers here in each individual state, which represents the monthly mortgage amount. Now, the states that have the blue colors that you can see on the map, those are the states with the lowest monthly mortgage payments. And the states that have the orange or the red color, those are the states with the highest monthly mortgage amount. Now, I'm going to zoom in on different parts of the country here because it's a little bit difficult to see those numbers right now. So let's take a look at a few different sections of the country just to show you the incredibly high monthly mortgage amounts in different states. All right, so I zoomed in on the western half of the United States. So let's take a look at what some of the average monthly mortgage amounts are starting in the Northwest. So let's take a look here in the top Northwest. Washington is at over $3,800 a month for the average monthly mortgage payment. If we go just below it to Oregon, they're just over $3,200 a month. If we go to California, no question about it, the highest and most expensive monthly mortgage amount in the country is California at almost $5,100 a month. My state right next door, Nevada, is at over $2,700 a month. Arizona, $2,700. Utah, just above it, almost $3,300. Colorado is about $3,500. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the states, but then when we get right here to the Midwest, you see North Dakota, $1,700, South Dakota, $2,000, Nebraska, $1,800, Kansas, $1,500, and then Oklahoma is about $1,300. So again, the more you go over to the western side of the United States, the more expensive the monthly mortgage amounts are, which are really pretty stunning. Let's take a look now over on the eastern side of the United States. All right, so now we're on the eastern half of the United States. Now, right next to my picture, you can see these bluer and purple colored states, which represent a lower average monthly mortgage payment compared to the lighter colored states. So if we go down to the south here, let's take a look right down here in Louisiana. Just to the bottom right of my picture there, it says $1,270. That's the average monthly mortgage payment in Louisiana. Mississippi is $1,165 and Alabama is $1,408. So those represent the lowest monthly mortgage payments in the country. But again, there's lower household income there, and those are less popular states that people are moving to or living in compared to other parts of the country. So if we take a look at Florida down here in the bottom right, that's at a whopping $2,600 a month. If we go just above it, Georgia's at $2,100. And as we go up the East Coast here, North Carolina, $2,100, Virginia, $2,500. And then when we get into the upper Northeast here in New Jersey, you're looking in New York and New Jersey, all of these states represent at least $3,300 or $3,500. Massachusetts up here is well into the $3,500 or $3,600 range. So when you get up into the Northeast, that's where it's obviously a lot more expensive from a monthly mortgage payment because, again, real estate is much more expensive there than in the Midwest and in the South. So basically, guys, it all depends on where you live in the country. If you live on the West Coast or you live in the Northeast, you need to earn the highest possible income, obviously, in those particular areas of the country to comfortably afford the average price home. If you live in the Midwest or you live in the South, obviously you don't need to make as much income. But again, it just goes to show you, by showing you guys all of the different monthly mortgage amounts in each of the states, it shows you how much income people have to earn today compared to what they did just a few years ago. Most of the states in this country, you have to earn a six-figure income now to comfortably afford just the average price point, which is why affordability is such a massive issue in terms of owning a home today in the United States. Now, because mortgage payments have gone up so much, especially in the last few years, housing inventory across the country is also increasing. Check this out. All right, so this U.S. map graphic shows each individual state in the last year and how much housing inventory has increased in each of these states. So if we take a look at the top, it says 1 year change in active housing inventory for sale shift between April 2023 and April of 2024. Now, the number one state in the country for the most housing inventory in terms of how much it's increased is down here in Florida. Florida has seen a 64% increase in housing inventory. If we go over to Texas right here, they've seen a 38% increase in inventory. If we go to Arizona, 45%. If we go to the upper Northwest there in Washington, 38%. If we go to California, we've seen a 28% increase. And ironically, where I happen to be located in the state of Nevada, it is the only state in a negative situation still where you could see it's a light yellow here at minus 12%. But the other 49 states in the country, we have seen a small to large increase in housing inventory. And ironically, again, the reason why here in Las Vegas, where I'm located, why home prices have skyrocketed here is, again, we do not have enough supply to meet demand, and we're the only state that's negative in the country. Now, this goes to the bigger picture, guys, as to what's happening in the U.S. real estate market. Aside from the state of Nevada, where I happen to be located, and housing inventory is still very low here, the other 49 states in the country are showing an increase, whether it's small or large. There's a lot of changes now happening with housing inventory, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, home prices have skyrocketed across the entire country. So again, housing prices are very high. And two, the mortgage rate scenario is increasing now to 8% for most people. So when we have sky-high home prices and now sky-high mortgage rates, it's becoming less affordable to own a home. And that's why housing inventory across the country, except for my state of Nevada, is increasing pretty dramatically. Now, here in Las Vegas, where I happen to be located, because housing inventory is so low, home prices continue to soar. Check out this short video clip.
This just in, April local home prices spring forward with condo and townhome prices reaching a record high. Las Vegas Realtors' latest report, it shows the median price of an existing single-family home went up to $469,000. That's up more than 9% from last April. For condos and townhomes, the median price $290,000. That's up 7% from last April, and it's also a new all-time high, surpassing that $287,000 mark set in August of 2022.
So Las Vegas has seen some of the strongest housing demand in the whole country, and many sellers and especially investors are trying to get outrageously high prices for their homes, and I want to show you a few of those examples in the upcoming segments. All right, so now I'm on the popular real estate website Zillow that most of you guys are familiar with, and I wanted to show you a few examples of homes for sale here in the Las Vegas area, starting in the luxury category and then working down closer to the average price point, just to show you what's going on here locally in the Las Vegas real estate market and how outrageous some of these prices are that the sellers and investors are trying to get for these homes. So let's start here. Take a look on the left side of the screen. You can see that the current list price of this luxury home here in Las Vegas is just about $2.5 million. It's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,740 square foot home. But take a look down here in the bottom right there, right where I'm moving the arrow. The HOA fee here, just in this particular community, is $521 a month. And again, I want you to take a look over here on the bottom left where it says Zestimate, $2,491,000. So that's the way Zillow is estimating the home value of this particular home, where the seller has the list price at $2.5 million. Because down below, I want to show you the price history here, just to show you how outrageous all of this is and why none of it makes sense. All right, so let's look at the price history of this particular home down here in this blue highlight right at the bottom. The date at the bottom left there says 12/19/2018. So about 5.5 years ago, this home was sold, you can see on the right side of the highlight, for $850,000. Now, if we take a look just above it, the date says 5/3/2024. So at the beginning of this month in May, they just listed this home for sale for $2.5 million. Now, let's just stop and think about that for a second. In the last 5.5 years, this seller doesn't even believe that this home has doubled in value. They think that this home has tripled in value. And even worse, when we scroll up here in the chart, we take a look at the estimated market value. Take a look right there in the upper left side where it says $2.491 million. That means Zillow believes that this home is actually valued at that level. And there's a reason why for it, which I want to show you in the chart right here. So focus your attention right in the middle of the screen, just to the left of that small arrow there. That small box says sold for $850,000 on 12/19/18. So again, 5.5 years ago, that's when this home sold for $850,000. But if we take a look on this green line chart, you can see that this starts to go up gradually, where the home finally got to about $1 million valuation here, right at the peak of the real estate market in 2022. And then it held right here at about $1.2 to $1.3 million a few months into this early part of 2024. Then what happened is the sellers finally decided to list the home right there, you can see in that small box, for $2.5 million. They did this right at the beginning of May, even though a few months before, right here, this home was valued right at about $1.2 to $1.3 million. So this is the problem that I have not only with the sellers, but with Zillow. This home was at $1.2 to $1.3. The sellers then decided to list the home for double that amount at $2.5 million. And then when we go up here to the top left, you can see that Zillow just automatically raised the price from about 1.3 or 1.4 to $2.5 million, basically, just because the sellers listed it at that price point, which again does not mean that is the true value. That's the problem with the sellers that are listing homes today, and Zillow is matching those estimates. That does not mean that is really the true value. And that's the craziness and the madness as to what's going on in this real estate market. And people should not be buying into this kind of hype regardless of what Zillow says and regardless of what the sellers are listing the home for. All right, so now let's take a look at this second example of a home for sale here in the Las Vegas area. Now we're definitely coming down in price. You can see on the left side of the screen that this home is currently listed at $795,000, but just above it in that small red text, it says price cut of $30,000. That happened about a month ago. So this home was about $830,000 just a month ago. It's now down to $795,000. It's a 2-bedroom, 3-bath, just over 2,300 square foot home. But if we take a look just here in the bottom right, you can see the HOA fee on this particular home is $623 a month, which is really high. But more importantly, I want to show you guys the price history of this home just in the last couple of months, just to show you the kind of price reduction that's already happened here. Let's take a look at that right now. All right, so let's look at the price history of this particular home. Take a look at the bottom of the screen in the blue highlight. Down in the bottom left there, the date says 2/17/2024. So that's about 3 months ago. This home was listed for sale for $900,000. They've not been able to find a buyer. So every couple of weeks, the seller now has been reducing the home about $25,000 at a time. They went from $900,000 to $875,000, then $850,000, then $825,000, and now they did a $30,000 reduction. So now they're currently at $795,000. So in 3 months, this home has been reduced just over $100,000 because, again, these sellers are coming in at very aggressive price points. It's not true value. They have not been able to find a buyer, thankfully so, and now they've reduced the price accordingly to the point where now it's down $100,000 and they still can't find a buyer. Again, guys, the reason why I'm showing you this is that in this market, if buyers did this and they boycotted homes like this at price points that they know are not true value, the seller's going to be forced to reduce prices constantly. So again, if you're a buyer and you wait things out, this is what's going to happen to the market. So again, if you're patient and you can wait things out, I know some buyers are just going to be aggressive and they're going to come in and buy, but if everyone just kind of boycotted these ridiculous home prices, we would see a mass reduction like what's happening with this particular home across the board. All right, so let's take a look at this third and final example of a home for sale here in the Las Vegas area. Now, I featured this home last month because, again, there's been another price reduction on this home. If you take a look on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed at $479,000, which is $10,000 above the average median home price here in Las Vegas, which right now stands at $469,000. This is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, just over 1,100 square foot home. But again, down below, I want to show you the price reductions that's been happening on this particular home. All right, so let's look at the price history of this particular home. Take a look at the bottom of the screen in the blue highlight. Down in the bottom left there, the date says 11/13/2023. So that's just about 6 months ago. This home was originally listed for $559,000. They were not able to find a buyer, so if we look just above it, they reduced it in January to $535,000, still couldn't find a buyer. Then they reduced it to $519,000, still couldn't find a buyer, and that's when I featured the home when this home was at $519,000. And now at the beginning of May, they did a big price reduction of another $40,000 all the way down to the current list price of $479,000. So again, in the last 6 months, this particular home has been massively overpriced. They reduced it $80,000 and they still can't find a buyer. So again, when sellers are too aggressive with their list prices, the homes are going to sit on the market. And if buyers sat on the sidelines, this would happen across the board, whether it's a luxury home or an average price point home, and we would see lower home prices. So if you can be patient, this is what's going to happen across the board to a lot of homes. So again, sit tight if you can. Try to wait things out because in my opinion, especially as we get through the election at the end of this year and into 2025, with home prices being this high and mortgage rates being this high, I see home prices across the board coming down. So just to summarize, there is a lot of gaslighting and greed going on in this economy. And as much as I try to tell people to stop spending money, especially on these overpriced homes, it seems like people just don't seem to care, which sadly continues to fuel this overinflated economy. So before we end today's video, I just want to give a shout out to my favorite comment from last week's video, and that goes to Karen. Now I'm going to put Karen's comments up here on screen, which are really pretty shocking. Let's take a look at that right now. So Karen says, just sent my daughter in Las Vegas a listing that we had watched go up for auction a few months ago for $500K. Now, a couple months later, after a very fast renovation, it was now listed for $995K. So what you're saying is so true. So that just goes to show you the disgusting greed that's happening here in the Las Vegas real estate market. And I'm sure it's happening in other local markets across the country. I want you guys to drop me a comment down below. I read and respond to all of my comments. Let me know a specific example in your neck of the woods that's radically gone up in price, whether it's home prices, food prices, college tuition. Definitely let me know. And my favorite comment from this week's video, I'm going to give a direct on-screen shout out to in next week's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I also hope you appreciate my transparency. You know that I'm always going to keep it 100% real on this channel regarding the economy and the real estate market. So I have two pieces of advice for most of you guys. Number one is to just be boring and save your money. I know it seems very basic, but stop spending money on things that you definitely don't need, especially on overpriced high-ticket items like homes and cars right now. The second thing you really need to do is to find a way to earn more money because inflation is eating up most people's salaries. So you need to find some kind of a side hustle to earn more money. If you find a way to earn more money and save money at the same time, you're going to be in a much better situation financially. Now, when it comes to buying homes, I know there's two sides of the story here. Some people want to wait things out and time the market and be patient. And I definitely think that's a wise option because I think home prices are going to be coming down when we get into 2025. But I also know the other side of the equation where some people have to buy right now. So if you're thinking about buying a home, especially here in the Las Vegas area where I happen to be located, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When the time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. I'll see you guys in the next video.